Jai Sriman Narayan. Jai Sriman Narayan. Jai Sriman Narayan. I pay my obeisances to my spiritual master, Sriman Jagadguru Sudarshan Acharyaji Maharaj. I pay my obeisances to Lord Sriman Narayan. I pay my obeisances to Lord Sri Ramanuj. I pay my obeisances to the Purva Acharyas. I pay my obeisances to the 12 Alvars. And I pay my obeisances to Mother Lakshmi. I welcome all of you here at the Sri Narayan Dham, physically in Durban, South Africa. I welcome those that are watching this discourse locally, nationally, and internationally, and I welcome those in advance that's going to be watching this discourse when it is posted in YouTube and various groups from around the world. I want to wish, I think I should start wishing my Guru, Swami Sudarshan Acharyaji Maharaj, Happy Father's Day. Then I want to wish the Father of all fathers, Lord Sriman Narayan, a Happy Father's Day. And I want to wish all the saints and sages that has revealed all his Vedic knowledge to us a Happy Father's Day, including Lord Sri Ramanuj. I want to wish our biological fathers a Happy Father's Day. It might be not proper in Sanatan Dharma. I think this culture has been adopted from the West, but we are living in the world dominated by the West, and every now and again we embrace to sustain our civility in this civilization. So, based on that only, I have wished the fathers in descending order a Happy Father's Day. Coming back to business, and in continuance of our topic of creation, I want to explain and unpack creation so that when you leave here today, half the weight on your shoulders should be gone. Because the unknown is a great stress. Is it not? You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow in whatever transaction you are perpetuating today. And because of the unknown factor, there's a great burden placed on you called stress. Does it not? Similarly, not knowing who you are and not knowing why you are placed in a particular environment unconsciously also places a great burden on you. And it is for these reasons that saints and sages have revealed both creation, the creator, and the created. So, knowing the circumstances that surround you relieves you of a huge burden. And I hope today, those that are present here and those that are listening to this discourse and will be listening to this discourse, their burden is offloaded. At least a portion of the burden is offloaded. So I've stated in previous discourses that the impulsion for material creation is the sum total of merits and demerits of living entities. The impulsion for material creation is the sum total of merits and demerits of living entities since time immemorial, which means there is no first creation. There is no first creation, and there is no first merit or demerit. Merits, demerits, living entities are infinite. And it has existed since beginningless time. All we need to know for our survival is our predicament. Is it not? As South African Indians, we arrived in this country in 1860. And we arrived promised riches, but were in turn turned into slaves. This is called duress. This is called duress, is it not? In this duress state, those that brought Sanatan Dharma from India did not present it in its absolute framework or formation, because they were under duress. And if anyone is under duress, then they are not in a clear state of mind. And it is for that reason in South Africa, due to the duress position of our great-grandparents, Sanatan Dharma has been broken into 1,000 different streams. It will not help us in our current predicament today to waste even 1 second in the duress of the past, would it? So similarly, forget trying to understand beginningless time. Forget trying to understand beginningless creation. Forget trying to question who created the Creator. These thoughts not going to assist you in your current life situation. You can spend the rest of your days trying to understand who created the Creator. It's not going to help you. All of you understand? So you need to find a solution. You need to find a solution, an individual solution for your current life. And that's where your focus should be, to find an individual solution for your current predicament. I've explained in previous discourses that one cycle of creation in solar years is 311 trillion 40 billion years. It means you exist in creation unless you are liberated for the duration of 311 trillion 40 billion years. It will be illogical for you to try to understand all your previous lives. There are too many. There are too many. I'm sure most of you are frustrated just with this life that you are currently living in. Imagine rewinding into all those other lives. It's of no value. It's of no value. Understand your life today. Understand your life for today. So I've stated that the Lord gives every living entity an opportunity to relieve himself of both his merits and demerits and attaining. And this opportunity is called material creation. In this material creation, there are 8.4 million species of life. 8 million belong to the plant, the aquatic, the reptiles, the birds, the mammals, the animals, and 400,000 belong to human. Within the human, there is only one species, but 400,000 levels of the mind. 400,000 level of the mind itself. So within this 8.4 million species of life, God disperses the living entity called individual souls. And you get, when the universe is wound up, when the cycle is complete, at that point, whatever merit or demerit that the universe was wound up in becomes the closing balance. Becomes the, Sita, in accounting terms, closing balance. And when the universe is created again, then the merits and demerits of every individual living entity becomes the impetus for that creation, which is now called the opening balance. So the universe is created with an opening balance, and based on the opening balance, an infinite amount of souls is inserted in these 8.4 million species of life. Then, during creation, each of these living entities, thus inserted, continues to live within the merits and demerits, and those that are given human bodies, they create new merits and demerits. So you live in the 8 million species as per your merits and demerits. You live in the human species as per your merits and demerits, and you continue accruing merits and demerits. There is an evolution of bodies. The same soul evolves from the aquatic to plant and creepers, plant, creepers, trees, then reptiles, then animals, birds, and then the human. All of you understand. The soul is the same. The vehicle evolves. The soul is always the same, and the vehicle evolves. And that's not very difficult to understand. That's not very difficult to understand, because modern science has discovered that there is a regeneration of your complete cells in your body every 7 years. Has it not? You all know of it? That every 7 years, all the cells in your bodies are replaced. So Shanti has had 10 bodies. Shanti, you have had 10 bodies. Sita, you have had 5 bodies. Don't laugh at them. No, you have had 7 bodies, Sita. You have had 7 complete new bodies. Have you not? Everyone, divide your age by 7. It means if all the cells regenerated, then you, every 7 years you are getting a new body. Are you not? Jai-bhai?
Yeah. But it's a continuous process.
Yes.
It doesn't like...
It is kaleidoscopic.
Yeah, it doesn't... There's no start and end point.
It's like a flame. A flame in a candle. Looks like one flame, isn't it? But the flame is intermittent. Every burst of a new flame is a millisecond. The eye cannot see the burst of a new flame. So when you look at a candle, until the candle, the wax is complete, there's been zillions of flames. But you saw one. Like if you open a tap. When you open a tap, you'll see a body of running water. Won't you see a body of running water? The very first atom of water that arrived at the tap, when you open the tap, where is that atom? Is it static or has it flowed away? It has flowed away. But whilst you're looking at the tap, what you see? A continuous body of water. You understand? Similarly, your body changes in a cycle of 7 years, all your cells have regenerated. It means new cells have replaced old cells. But you remember yourself when you were 5. Sita, how far back your memory goes? Just in this lifetime?
5.
5. Okay, Sita was a slow child. And the body has changed, what has not changed? So that entity that is not changed, that is constant, is called the soul. So that entity started its life in the aquatics. It continued attaining bodies up until the time it became a human. In the attainment of 8 million species of bodies, the soul have no say. In the attainment of 8 million species of life, the soul has no say. It is when you become a human that God gives you an opportunity for you to understand that I have evolved from 8.4 million species like how I have evolved from my birth up until this present moment. God gives you that opportunity to understand. If you do not understand anything, nothing is difficult. Observe nature. Observe nature critically. And the critical observation of nature gives you all your answers that you require. Does it not? Okay. So you have evolved, and I've stated that Lord Brahma has completed his 50th birthday, which means we're in midpoint of this cycle of creation, which means that 155 trillion years has passed. And all of this time you've been here. All of this time you've been here. And like you changed your age divided by 7, how many times you changed your body, similarly, you've changed other types of bodies since the beginning of this creation. Since the beginning of this creation, you've changed. It's nothing hard now that I've explained to you that in this current lifetime, you've changed many times. Boy, what's your age? 11. So you on your second body. Alright? And your sister? She's 4. She's halfway through her first body. Alright? And Benita, you are 108 divided by 7. We will need a calculator. Alright? All of you are understanding? So that I in the body is different from the body. Otherwise, when the cells regenerated, then that I would have disappeared, that personality would have disappeared. Don't you think? That personality within the body would have disappeared. So I've stated previously that the Supreme Lord does not trust man. The Supreme Lord does not trust a human body. Even saints and sages, the greatest sages, have fell to the snare of material nature. It's recorded in history, is it not? Yes. Vishwamitra himself, one of the greatest sages, is found in the Rig Veda. He also fell during meditation to a beautiful woman, Jay. Vishwamitra, great sage. So saints and sages cannot be trusted whilst they are inserted in the material universe to record the merits and demerits of humans. So God himself divides himself into infinite number, in the exact number which is infinite of living entities, and he inserts himself into the souls of every living entity to manage the merits and demerits. For management in the absolute dimension, to make sure not a minuscule merit or demerit is altered, the Lord has divided himself to fit into the soul of every living entity, so that he can personally account the merits and demerits. Sita, as an accountant, accountants are known to cook the books. And you think God can trust an accountant with the merits and demerits of humans? Sita?
Not all accountants.
Well, I'm talking generally. I'm not saying you as an accountant, I'm saying accountants are known to cook the books. And it is for this reason of absolute management that the Supreme Lord has divided himself to fit into each and every living entity which is called the soul. All of you understand? And the Lord is one that pushes you into your music. The Lord is the one that impels you and drives you to your music. And it is also the Lord who impels you and drives you out of music, according to your merits and demerits. Who created demerits and demerits? The individual soul. Who ensures that you experience your merits and demerits? The Lord. Is the Lord cruel? Is the Lord cruel in any way? The Lord is, if you are suffering, the Lord placed you there by His potency. You placed yourself by your demerit. And if you are enjoying, the Lord placed you there by His potency, and you placed yourself there by your merit. The Lord is only the power that places you in your predicaments and enjoyment of life. Is this absolute and perfect? Is this explanation absolute and perfect? This is why twins born almost simultaneously do not have the same enjoyment and distresses. Have you all noticed that? One twin becomes a criminal and the other twin becomes a high court judge. But they were born almost simultaneously. So this one life system perpetuated by the Abrahamic religion was only there to instill fear in you that you only have this one life and make sure you live it properly. That is the only reason the Abrahamic religious system created the one life theory. If the one life theory exists, then there can be no God. If this one life theory exists, that you only live one life, then how can there be a God? Because to have a God, you have to have fairness. God has to be fair. Doesn't he, Jessica? Why must your sister be richer than you, Jessica? If only one life theory exists, what did you do to God? And when and how to be poorer than your own sister? Leave your neighbors and colleagues and everyone. Do you understand? Then the absoluteness of God would not exist. Are you understanding what I'm stating? All of you? If you are only living one life, then God cannot be absolute. What criteria did God use to make one enjoy and one suffer. And this is why we state Sanatan Dharma is absolute science. And if you understand Sanatan Dharma, then immediately you take ownership of your suffering. You take ownership of your suffering. As long as you are blinded by ignorance, you will continue to suffer. We still have 155 trillion years, together with 40 billion years. It's a long, long time. Like an addict, whether drug or alcohol or gambling, all these types of addicts, as long as they don't declare to themselves, I am an addict, and as long as they live in denial, then the addiction continues. But the minute you declare to yourself, I am an addict of a particular category, then de-addiction starts its process in that individual. Does it not? After embracing the status, de-addiction starts as a process. Does it not? And this we have seen practically the world over by Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, and Gambling Anonymous. They have millions of people within their framework. And the first thing they state is, I embraced my addiction. This addiction is a very small addiction. There's a greater addiction called ignorance. There is a greater addiction called ignorance. When we embrace this great addiction called ignorance, then knowledge will start dawning and replacing the vessel of ignorance. All of you understand? And this is why I stated today that after this discourse, if you embrace what I have stated as absolute, half your problems are gone. And the reason half those problems exist is because you are ignorant of the true knowledge of your problems. You are blaming your boss, you're blaming your ex, you're blaming your current, you're blaming your mother-in-law, you're blaming your father-in-law, you're blaming your brothers, you're blaming your sisters, you're blaming the whole world. For whose ignorance? Your ignorance. So when you stop blaming the whole world and embrace that I am in this situation today, impelled by my own merits and demerits, I have been given this human body so that I can navigate through my merits and demerits successfully and attain the lap of the Lord for absolute bliss. When you say that to yourself, is one thing, Jessica. When you start living it, then you will notice, Vasan, when you start living it. Vasan, you was right at the door. I thought we were about, this entire ashram was about to be hijacked because you came with your mask, all right? Vasan, you can remove your mask, you're scaring the Guru. Okay? Relax, boss. Happy Father's Day, boss. All of you understand. And I'm going to unpack it in a very simple form. Alright? What do you know of a diagnostic machine? Ladies, you all heard of a diagnostic machine? You all heard? Sita, you know what's a diagnostic machine? You know what's a diagnostic machine?
The machine to diagnose you.
Okay, it's used in motor vehicles. It is used in motor vehicles. Just somebody tell them to not make a noise. It's disturbing me. So all of you know what's a diagnostic machine. Say bye. We all know what's a diagnostic machine. What do we know of how this machine, what is the function of this diagnostic machine?
Fault finding.
It finds faults. In what does it find faults?
What it's designed to.
What it's designed to analyze. So let's take motor vehicles as a general example. Let's take motor vehicles as a general example. Does this diagnostic machine favor a few manufacturers? Or if you go to a general garage, you want a diagnosis and you want to tune up your vehicle, or does it work for vehicles across the board?
Very specific.
Yes, they work for vehicles across the board because the manufacturer's handbook, the details of all the different manufacturers' handbook is computed into this machine. So if you go with a Fiat, it will give you the specs of a Fiat. And if you go with the Mercedes, it gives you a spec of a Mercedes. Whichever vehicle you go in with, it will give you a spec and it will tune you up accordingly. It will tune your vehicle accordingly. Will it not? So this machine is not biased. Is this machine biased to any motor vehicle manufacturer, to high-end motor vehicles and lower-end motor vehicles and commercial motor vehicles? So I want you to understand Sanatan Dharma like this. I want you to understand Sanatan Dharma like this. Sanatan Dharma has computed everything that is contained in this universe into one diagnostic machine called the Vedas. Alright? Whichever religion you belong to, whichever race you belong to, whichever creed you belong to, it does not matter. Because Sanatan Dharma caters for every living entity. Whatever your merits or demerits were, Sanatan Dharma caters for you. And this is why there is no conversion into Sanatan Dharma. You cannot be converted. I cannot convert you into Sanatan Dharma. Can I? It is your natural, created state. Oh, are you understanding? So to man this diagnostic machine, God has created the Guru Parampara. And the Gurus are technicians that man this diagnostic machine. So whoever comes to a Guru, the Guru will look at you as an individual and diagnose your merits and demerits that brought you to this particular state. And like a doctor, the Guru will prescribe remedies to you. Now you may have 10 people that have the flu that will go to one doctor. And all 10 people may get different prescriptions. Is it possible? Depending on other factors that are connected to the flu. So if you have a flu and you're a chronic patient of some other disease, then that medication might not work, as opposed to somebody that has no other complications. Do you understand? Similarly, when a Guru diagnoses you, the Guru has to see all of your conditions, and you'll find the Guru will give different instructions to different individuals. These prescriptions that the Guru gives you is absolutely designed to cure you of that specific merit and demerit, which in total is ignorance, so that you can start healing spiritually. So when you sit in this satsang, don't look at another person. Why the Guru told me to do this, and the Guru did not tell anyone else to do something else. And whilst I'm on this topic, Rishi, I'm giving you another prescription for the next 10 weeks for the, where's his wife?
Not well.
Probably not here, only 2 of you are here. Okay. You are witness to what I'm saying? Every Saturday, Rishi will come and clean up the hall with his family. Rishi Bhai, every Saturday, you will come to this hall. It's a rerun. After a Rishi, rerun after a take your mask out. Guru can't hear through the mask. Rerun after a No, I can't hear from Rishi. I want it loud. After a lapse. Rerun after a lapse. All of you understand? So if somebody is here and I have prescribed certain functionalities to you, if you do not contain within those functionalities, you are definitely going to relapse. Because different medication for different people, because your merits and demerits are all individual and different. All of you understand? Vishwadhar believed. You know Vishwadhar J? Vishishtadvaita Ramanuj Das. You don't know him? aka Yatin Soni, who is busy transcribing this discourse at this point in time, aka conveniently these parts do not get transcribed. Okay? Yeah, these parts get edited. Alright? So he believed that as long as you are associated with a guru, all your problems, your life will become successful. This was his belief as an analyst. Alright? He's an analyst for a big company, and he analyzed wrongly. He analyzed wrongly that by mere association with a guru, he'll have a perfect marriage, he'll have perfect children, he'll have a perfect job, he'll have a perfect business, and he'll have a perfect relationship with his guru. By mere association. And all of his thoughts and ideas and ideologies collapsed. Everything collapsed. And he had to revisit the basics. He had to revisit the basics. So those of you that are new here, do not delude yourself by coming to satsang, smiling at the guru. Things will happen. Do not delude yourself coming to satsang, smiling at the guru, Narayan, Narayan, things will happen. When a guru do a diagnostic, and if you need to change blown ICs, leaking tire, engine overall, if you don't change it, Jessica, you will remain in the condition you came. You will remain in the condition you came. And I want to conclude this, and I wrote this out, and I want Vishwadhar to transcribe it as I read it. And the reason I wrote it out is I don't miss out a single understanding of how the system works. All right? So I want you to listen carefully. You know I'm a freehand discourser, but most of the time, valuable information slips down the drain of the mind. And for that reason, I have specifically written this out. Okay? Shawan, see if you can get my glasses quickly. I see a Father's Day cake there. Or is it Lizo's birthday cake? Lizo? Cake for birthday? You? Huh? Hey, Lizo is saying thank you. Dana, sorry. So I want you to listen very, very carefully and instill this within you. And so the Supreme Lord, Lord Sriman Narayan, he remains established within himself all the time. And I stated that Narayan simply means, in Sanskrit, translated to English, the source and goal of all living entities. Narayan is not a sectarian religious name for God. Alright? It is a translation from Sanskrit to English, stating that that entity who is the highest entity is the source and goal of all living entities, Lord Sriman Narayan remains established within himself at the highest level. At the highest level. That is the highest point of all that is to be known. All of you understand? When Lord Sriman Narayan remains established within himself, that is the highest point to be known. Then Lord Sriman Narayan impelled by the merits and demerits of an infinite number of living entities since beginningless time, due to their merits and demerits, and for their salvation, he creates these myriads of material universes. This is just one universe where we are situated. There are innumerable universes created simultaneously. I'm talking about this universe that we are now inserted in to exhaust our merits and demerits, or accrue merits and demerits. Then the Supreme Lord creates a scenario, a drama between himself and his devotees when they come down to earth. The Supreme Lord creates a drama between himself and his pure devotees, not those devotees that are on earth already, those devotees that are in spiritual reality with him. The Supreme Lord creates a drama, and that drama has been called Vedanta, the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, and various other dramas. Which means to enact in this drama, the Lord lowers himself from the supreme position to a lower position to create a drama so that man can understand through his example how to live within this material universe. So the Lord has to lower himself to appease and train and teach mankind how to live and how to attain salvation. Then still, after incarnating, he lowers himself again by governing. And you'll notice in both the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, in both his incarnations, he was king. And he became king to govern. And when you're governing people, you stoop down to a very low level, don't you? From the supreme, right down to now, governing. You understand? So the Lord has lowered himself from the supreme absolute position to a position of an incarnation and further from the position of incarnation to a position of governing. And he lowers himself into all these positions so that man can attain salvation. And then the Lord even lowers himself from the position of governing when somebody transgresses. When somebody transgresses, he is given a curse. When somebody transgresses, he is given a curse in the form of a demerit. And when he is happy with somebody, he gives that person a boon. Whether he curses or he gives a boon, he has come right down to the lowest level by giving a curse or giving a boon. So can you see how God continuously lowers himself for the appeasement of the humankind, so that they may be or they may attain salvation. So similarly, bona fide spiritual masters remain established within themselves or remain established within the Supreme Lord. I want you to listen to this, Vedanta. Bona fide spiritual masters remains established within themselves or remains established within the Supreme Lord. The life, the company, the life, the company, the thoughts, and the air that surrounds the body of a bona fide spiritual master can give you salvation. Are you listening? The company, the thoughts, the air surrounding the bona fide spiritual master can give you salvation. How many people believe this? Jebad? A minuscule amount of people believes this. All right? So spiritual masters because of this ignorance of the people that do not know this, they come down a level from being established within themselves and the Supreme Lord. They come down a level so that they can make common man. They can make common man understand that all the actions and revelations, the actions, the revelations, and the thoughts of these supreme spiritual masters constitute the scriptures. Constitute the scriptures. Okay? Then they come down still to a lower level and they say, please obey my instructions. The spiritual master remains established in themselves of God, then they come down to a lower level by explaining to common man that the revelations, their thoughts are found in the scriptures called the Vedas. And when this does not happen, the spiritual master lowers himself again. Can you see, Jai Bhai, can you understand what I'm saying? It's like a CEO sitting in his office, is trying to teach the staff below him. When they do not understand, then he comes onto the managerial level. They still do not understand, he comes still lower in the discipline level, and he is saying, now obey what I am stating. So, can you see the position? So similarly, aspirants who do not obey the saints, the saints or spiritual masters ask them to obey the principles that they have expounded. By still lowering themselves. So aspirants do not want to obey a saint directly, then we say obey the principles that the saint has expounded indirectly. And then when they go down still lower, they order them to do a specific task. Right down, doormat level, spiritual masters will say now, Sita, park your car at the lower level when you come to satsang, so that the newer devotees can park on the top. That's an order. That's an order. Those that listen to the Guru, those that listen to the Guru's behest, practical shape of the Guru's doctrine starts transforming those aspirants. Those that listen to the Guru, the doctrine of the Guru takes practical transformation in the aspirants. The saints order an aspirant to follow a principle, and if the aspirant follows the principle, then the Guru gives that aspirant his grace. His grace is so powerful that it can transform anyone into anything. But you have to satisfy the criteria that the Guru has instructed. And similarly, if you do not follow the Guru's instructions, then the Guru goes even lower. And sometimes he gives you a boon, and sometimes he gives you a curse. Sometimes he gives you a boon, and sometimes he gives you a curse. And that is the lowest level that a bona fide spiritual master gets down to. So maybe I explained this fast. This discourse, the transcribed discourse, will go on WhatsApp for those of you that are not on Facebook. Please understand God and please understand the Guru. Please understand God and please understand the Guru. When you understand God, when you understand the Guru, then only will you be able to understand yourself. After understanding God, Guru, and understanding yourself, then only your march to your legitimate desires begin. Your march to your legitimate desires begin. Right? You can't sit there like Vasan in a bag, fish, Vasudeva Ramanuj Das, and know God, know Guru, and know yourself, and desire to go rob a bank. It won't work. And this is why I'm saying legitimate desires, dharmic desires. Okay? So in this universe, we have doctors, lawyers, all types of profession, engineers. You think God knows these people exist? Jai Bhai? You think God knows they exist? How does he know?
It's part of the soul.
He's part of the soul. So whoever you are, in whatever dimension you are, whatever title you are, my job is to make you a better person in that category that you are. My job is to make you a better person in whatever category you belong in. My job is to diagnose. My job is to order. My job is to grace. My job is to give you a boon. The curses are up to you. I'm not here to curse. All of you understand. So when you come to a satsang or a service of this nature, you have to come with an open mind and you have to allow Jai Bhai to have your bonnet open. For me to attach Satish Bhai, my diagnostic machine, into the engine of your mind, you have to open the bonnet. If you keep the bonnet closed and perceive you are being diagnosed and sorted, it is only a perception. So open the bonnet of your engine room, let the Guru diagnose you, and let the Guru prescribe and follow the Guru's prescriptions if you want to be successful. Follow the Guru's prescriptions diligently. You know mechanics, Jaiba. If the Guru say the rings in your piston is gone, what will it mean? Engine overall. If you think just by knowing the Guru, the engine will automatically get overhauled, you are in the wrong satsang. You are in the wrong satsang. If you go to a diagnostic center every day, Jessica, park your vehicle in the bay, and after a while take your vehicle and go home. If you did not open your bonnet, get diagnosed and repair it, allow that vehicle to be repaired, will there be any difference in your motor vehicle? So going to the workshop also means nothing. Allowing the workshop technician to work on you, that is the only time you get results. And when you are in the workshop, Jessica, if you're a Ford, don't worry about the Mercedes next to you. Jessica, if you're a Ford, don't worry about the Mercedes next to you. You're a Ford, you came for the engine overhaul, you need new rings, bearings, oil change, all of that. The Guru is quite capable of fixing you. Also, don't fix other people in the garage. Don't fix other people that's in the garage. Only worry about your own repairs. Because sometimes we worry about all the other cars that are not repaired properly, we forget to repair ourselves. Janita Beni enjoyed that. It's a good smile, man. First smile as of for Father's Day. Alright? So come to satsang, allow the Guru to open your bonnet, allow the Guru to open your bonnet, follow all the instructions and allow the Guru to work on you. If you're a self-made mechanic, then you don't have to go for diagnosis. You just go to the spare shop, buy your spares and fix yourself. But when you come to a Guru, that means you are not a self-made mechanic, you need repairs. Alright? As you're watching the Guru repair, don't think you have become a mechanic, now you can go home and repair yourself. Alright? You may have knowledge by watching the Guru, but you cannot become the Guru. You understand? And only the Guru can do the repairs. You cannot repair yourself. Otherwise, this entire Sanatan Dharma falls into disarray. You understand? So understand the absoluteness. Embrace the absoluteness and allow yourself to be healed of all the stresses that weigh on your shoulder. And I promised you, all of you, that when you leave here today, half of your stresses should be finished. Jaibai? Don't you think? Because now you know the why. No more blame game. No more blame game, Jessica. Don't ask who did it. Don't ask who did it. Lord Narayan is in your soul. If he didn't allow it to be done, it can never be done. And if it got done, then your merits made it get done. Because this system is a perfect system. Understand, Vanita? When you have bad luck, don't blame your neighbors for planting something in your yard. If they planted that something in your yard, your merits impel them to plant that something in your yard, and your merits encouraged yourself to suffer that system. So in this system, no blame game. You only blame your Rishi. Who you blame? Self. If you keep a bottle of whiskey here, and if you sit next to the whiskey, you can look at the whiskey whole day, the whiskey can look at you whole day. But the whiskey will never open its cap and put itself in your mouth. Rishi. God never gave the whiskey that capacity. God never gave the whiskey that capacity. Then when the whiskey has invaded your system, instead of blaming yourself, who you blame, Rishi? The whiskey. The whiskey made me drunk. That's why I behave like this. Alright? So similarly, we are all drunk with ignorance. If we do not drink the ignorance, can we get drunk? Alright? So follow very carefully all that I am discoursing. Whatever you take only benefits you. I don't get a pat on my back by Lord Narayan for every person that is salvaged. You understand? It's my job to salvage you. Like a fire's job is to burn. You understand? Similarly, my job is to salvage you. But if you are not salvageable, it is your problem. And even if you get salvaged, no merits for the good. All of you understand? So we have given you a platform to do your seva. We have given you a platform to do your simran. And we have given you a platform to do your satsang. Alright? And the Guru works 24 hours a day, physically and in all its dimensions. Anytime you come here, you see me working. So I've created all of this. The Guru has created all of this so that you can land here and just change your dimension from ignorance to knowledge. That is all that is required. And in that journey, the Guru prescribes individually what medication to take. All of you understand? Are there any questions, Jeva? Can anything be more simpler? Can anything be more simpler than what I have stated today? Jessica? Everyone understand? Are you all prepared to admit that each one of you is responsible for your own status in this lifetime? All of y'all are? You'll admit? Paddy, you admit that your good merits gave you Benita Beni? Very bad? But whilst there, I don't know, you know. Dana, can I say anything? Okay, Vasan, is there anything you want to say for Dana? Okay? So whoever your husband is, whoever your wife is, whoever your children are, whoever your in-laws are, you chose them. Who chose them? You chose them. Alright? Live with them, make yourself better, and make them better as well. Jai Sriman.